This is the video knowing one. The first thing that comes up in this part of the lesson are four uses for the kanji kata. So the first one is the respectful form for the word for person. So you know the neutral word for person is hito and the respectful form is kata. So sono hito wa dare desu ka means who is that person. And if you want to turn that into the respectful form, it becomes sono kata wa donata desu ka. So you'll notice that the dare changes to donata because donata is the respectful form of dare. This is one of the things that's a bit tricky about using respectful language in Japanese, is that you have to get it consistent in the sentence. If you put a respectful form in one part of the sentence, then you have to use respectful forms in the other parts, and if you don't, it sounds a bit odd. And the second use of this kanji, and again it's read with as kata, means the way of doing something. So you attach this to verb stems. So for example, kangaeru means to think, and it's a root group verb, so the stem is kangae, and you stick kata on the end, and it gives us kangae kata. And the example sentence I've written there is Sono sensei no kangai kata wa omoshiroi desu. That teacher's way of thinking is interesting. Now the next use of this kanji is for giving advice. And on this occasion, instead of reading it as kata, you read it as ho. And if you want to give affirmative advice, you get a verb and put it into the plain past tense and add ho ga I. Now, I think I mentioned this in the vocab section, but this kanji, ho, also has the meaning of indicating one of two directions. So something ho ga I des means that choice of one of two things is good. And also, because you have to put the verb into the plain past tense, this is a good opportunity to revise your plain past tense. There's heaps of grammar patterns in Japanese which use these basic forms like the plain affirmative, plain negative, like that. That's why it's so important that you learn these really well. So in the example I've given, it would be best to tell him. So this is using oshieru. Now remember, oshieru means to teach, but it also means to tell or to inform somebody of something. So it would be best to tell him would be oshieta hoga ii desu. Now, if you want to give negative advice, you put the verb into the present negative form and again add hoga I. So it would be best not to do something. So if we use oshieru again, because it's a root group verb, the plain negative form is oshienai. So oshienai hoga I desu. It would be best not to tell him or not to tell them. And the last use for this kanji is indicating a preference for one of two options. If you want to ask somebody about a choice between two things, the pattern is A to B to dochira no ho ga. So we've got noun 1, to, noun 2, to, dochira no ho ga. So for an example, kono hon to sono hon to dochira no ho ga omoshiroi desu ka? So which is interesting, this book or that book? And to answer, use the following pattern. Sono hon no ho ga omoshiroi desu. So that book is interesting. The next thing we'll study is superlatives. Ichiban means number one or the best. So ichiban ii gakusei means the best student. So Tanaka-san wa ichiban ii gakusei desu. Miss Tanaka is the best student. If you want to ask, amongst this category, which is the most something or other, use this pattern. So kono hon no naka de dore ga ichiban omoshiroi desu ka? Amongst these books, which is the most interesting? And an answer could be Kono hon no naka de Tanaka-san no hon ga ichiban omoshiroi desu. Amongst these books, Mr. Tanaka's book is the most interesting. You can see with the question that I've used the question word dore, which means which thing, but depending on what it is you're asking, sometimes you need to use different question words. So if you're asking about places, you would use doko, where, and if you're asking about people, you would use dare, like that. And the next thing we'll study is a few more uses for the verb stem. So a verb stem plus yasui means easy to do. So kono hon wa yomi yasui desu. This book is easy to read. And the next pattern is verb stem plus nikui, which means difficult to do. So kono hon wa wakari nikui desu. This book is hard to understand. So both of these patterns are adjectives and endings. So like if you want to put them into the negative form or the past tense, then they follow the pattern for e-adjectives. And the next pattern we'll study is a verb stem plus the particle ni plus iku. And this means to go and do. So for example, tabe ni iku. So taberu is to eat, and the verb stem is tabe, plus the particle ni, plus the verb iku to go, gives us to go and eat. You can also use this pattern with kuru. So tabe ni kuru means to come to eat. Actually, this particle ni, indicating purpose, can also be used with some nouns. So for example, kaimono ni iku means to go shopping. Kaimono is shopping, and so the particle ni here indicates the purpose, and iku means to go. So kaimono ni iku, to go shopping. And the final thing we'll study in this part of the module is some more counters. And the first one is the counter for animals, which is written with that kanji there, which is read as hiki. So inu ga ippiki imasu means there is one dog here. So inu is a dog, and you count it with hiki. And the second counter is the one for times, for like the number of times you do something. And this kanji is read as do. So ichido means one time. So ichido Nihon ni ikimashita. I went to Japan one time. We already learnt the kanji kai, which also means the number of times you do something. So it is basically similar.